101.
101, okay. This is John Whitmer from the Historical Society, and I'm here in the museum building with Teresa Butcher, who's going to talk about her life story. So first, Teresa, I would appreciate, could you please spell your name?
Teresa.
It's in there, I'm not writing it down.
Okay, Teresa. Butcher, Butcher. There's no H in Teresa.
But, oh, okay.
Just about everybody has an H.
Yeah. It's so frustrating.
It's a given.
Every time, yes. And you were born, what is your date of birth, please?
6/11/55.
55.
Yes.
Okay. Now, according to our records, you're going to be called the narrator. You're going to narrate your story, and I'm the interviewer. And today's date is July the 11th,
Yes.
2022. Let's start. You were born in 1955.
Yes.
Tell me your family tree, your brothers, sisters, your parents, whatever.
Well, we was born on the eastern shore of Virginia,
Oh,
and we came here when I was a baby.
from where in the Eastern Shore? So you don't remember it, you came as a baby.
Yeah, one of the little towns is Bird's Nest, Virginia,
Oh, okay,
and I can't remember the other one.
that's okay.
Yeah, but that's where we was when Mom and Dad, and I had an older sister, so it was just me and her at the time that came here,
Your mom and dad and your sister.
and myself.
And you,
Because
right,
I
of
was a
course,
baby.
of course.
And then,
Why did they move to where? To Rehoboth Beach?
yes, Rehoboth.
Yeah.
We never said Rehoboth Beach. We always said Rehoboth.
Oh, really?
Because mostly black folks didn't live Rehoboth Beach.
They weren't on the beach.
We always said Rehoboth.
Okay.
So there was a difference.
So where did you live?
In Rehoboth,
Yeah, like
there was a place called the Oyster Camp.
Oyster Camp.
Yes. And what that was is a factory or plant
Yeah.
where everybody, the adults, worked at. That's how my parents and other parents made their living.
They
working at
both worked at the
Oyster Camp.
Oyster Camp. Was that the Kirkpatrick Oyster Company? Did some reading. Does that sound familiar to you at all?
Kirkpatrick does sound familiar.
Okay,
That sounds familiar.
because I saw a thing online that they were selling frozen oysters. Anyway, okay. So the job brought them.
You from
To-
Virginia
to Rehoboth.
because the work was, their life was very hard in Virginia,
Yeah.
down south. So they came up here to hopefully get it a lot better than, the fields and all of that kind of stuff.
So I was talking to Marge, and she said that you were living near the canal.
Yes.
Were you actually out on the banks of the canal, or was
In
it?
fact, we lived there when they had the flood in 1962.
Oh, really? Well, that's the year I was working at the Henlopen Hotel as a houseboy. And so you were affected by the same storm that affected the Henlopen Hotel, but it's a completely different.
But we was never mentioned.
Tell me about that.
The black people was never mentioned. It's a video of 1962.
Yes.
Black people was never mentioned. The only thing they mentioned was down Rehoboth.
What can I say?
That's the way it was.
But the whole history is changing these days, where regular people's stories are becoming more important. History used to always be about the kings and the queens and the president, but there's more to history than that.
And what made them to be kings and queens was the everyday people that cleaned their houses or was nannies or whatever title,
Yeah.
taking care of their children.
Well, in 1955, when you moved here, you were
I was just a baby.
born June of 55, and you moved here that same year.
That
So you were an
same year.
infant. You were an
Yes, I was a baby.
infant. And your sister was older.
She was 2. She would have been 2.
Yeah.
It's 2 years different.
Well, now, how did it work in those days with daycare? If your parents were working,
We didn't have daycare.
so what did you do? Take care of yourself?
You would have what's called babysitters. Maybe an older woman would take care of the children.
Yeah.
We didn't have daycare.
Do you remember your babysitter?
We didn't have kindergarten.
I think when I was a little boy, it was optional. Some people would.
No, we didn't have it.
Where did you
That
go?
I recall.
Where did you go to school?
Rehoboth School
Okay.
in first grade.
Was there a bus? I mean, where was
Oh,
it?
we walked to school. We didn't have a bus. We were segregated. We didn't have a bus.
So the school was close.
Well, maybe it was close. It wasn't really close for us.
Were the teachers black?
Yes, we had 2 teachers, 2 lady teachers, and a principal.
So one principal just supervised 2 teachers?
Yes,
Really?
and it was first through third. We went to a one-room schoolhouse.
Do you know the name of the school or where it was?
Just Rehoboth Elementary, that's all I
That was it.
recall.
Okay.
And on one side was first through third, that's where I was. My teacher, her name was Mrs. Fountain.
Mrs. Fountain.
And on the other side was 4th, 5th, and 6th. And that teacher was Miss Fountain.
Oh,
And then 7th through 12th, were you familiar with Del Tech in Georgetown?
yes.
You know about Jason then?
No, I don't know Jason.
Okay. We went to school 1st through 3rd, and after 6th grade, you would go to high school, which would have been 7th through 12th, to what was called Jason High School,
Jason High School.
which is now the Del Tech,
Okay.
Del Tech College in Georgetown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, were your teachers pretty good? Did you get a good education?
Yes, 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 yes. We didn't integrate till I was in the 5th grade,
So that means that'd be like 1965?
somewhere around there, yes,
That's a long time after the Supreme Court said you had to integrate.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So tell me about your parents and how it was with their job at the oyster plant. How did that?
It's hard. It's cold because and the plant is right on the water, so it's cold. You're talking wintertime, and they had to go to work like in the wee hours of the morning. You're talking like 2 or 3 o'clock or something like that, and that's the way the oyster plants run.
Well, oysters are usually sold in the winter. Was the plant open in the summer also?
I don't know. I don't recall.
But exactly what did they do? Did they did they shuck the
They
oysters?
shucked the oysters and then they packaged them and sent them out. That's
So
what
did they put them in big bottles or jars?
There
or-
was cans. There was in cans, like 10 cans. I'm gonna say 10, but I don't think it was
Okay.
10. The material.
Okay, it was a can.
Yeah, 10 cans.
They
Yeah.
weren't frozen.
Like I'm gonna say 5 gallons, somewhere around there, depending. I'm sorry, I think it was quarts and paints, and then
Of course, you didn't
paint
work.
is the smallest.
Penny, you didn't work there. Your parents.
No, my parents worked there. No.
Isn't shucking oysters dangerous? You can cut yourself with a
Yeah,
knife.
yeah.
Did anybody ever get hurt?
And I didn't hear no stories from my parents about anybody getting hurt.
Do you have any idea, like, how many people worked in the oyster
Yeah,
plant?
all of the black people worked there.
Were there any white people working there at all?
Probably not as on the line, as, like assembly line.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any white people, just black people
Yeah.
that lived in their neighborhood and in their area. And it wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't a lot of money.
But with them both working, could they pay the bills? Were you able to maintain yourself?
They made it somehow. They made it somehow. Because later after me, then I had 2 more siblings. Mom them had 2 more children.
Okay.
So,
Did you go to church?
there was a church right on the camp. There was a church on the camp, yes.
Was it, was there a denomination? Was it Presbyterian?
Holiness,
Holiness?
holiness,
Holiness, okay.
holiness.
Okay. And you had a presumably a pastor, a minister.
Yes, yes, yes.
Was there a choir?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Was there an organ in the church?
I don't think so. Back then, I don't think they had any instruments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall any instruments.
Well, you were saying the pay is not high, and your parents worked hard.
But the price of oysters is very expensive.
Is
Very,
that?
very
Yes.
expensive.
But were the managers fair? Were they nice? Were they fair, or just didn't care?
I don't know, because like I said, I don't remember Mom and them talking too much about that, you know?
Yeah. So, in those days, did people retire or just work as long as they could?
Just work, 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 work.
But in those days, we did have Social Security.
Yeah,
So there was that.
yeah, yes. And thankfully, my dad did live to draw Social Security.
How about your mom?
He's gone now.
Is your mother alive?
She's gone too.
Hmm.
They're both gone.
So, tell me a little bit more about yourself. You went through the elementary school in Jason.
Okay,
Tell me more about your education, if you would.
Went to we went to the black school, my years from first to fourth,
Yeah.
then fifth grade is when we integrated.
Oh, okay.
That's when we integrated in fifth grade. And that's when we went to this school here, it's the same school in Rehoboth.
The
The
one
high
that-
school,
The one they just tore down?
it may have been,
Yeah.
it may have
I
been.
mean, the high school,
Uh,
Rehoboth, became an elementary school,
Yes.
and then they tore it down and built a new
And then it
elementary.
was a middle school at one
Yeah,
point in time, yeah.
But you went to that school, right on Silver Lake.
At the age, fifth grade is when I went there. Went
But at
there.
that point, it was integrated.
Integrated, And it wasn't a nice situation.
How do you mean?
The kids were not nice. The white kids were not nice.
Well, what proportion were black and what proportion were white? Like half and half?
Maybe more of us, I think, maybe.
Really?
Maybe. And we had to walk to school. And they had buses, but we wasn't allowed to ride the bus. We had to walk in the rain, the snow. You know, as you come right into Rehoboth Avenue,
Yes.
it was a development, I'm gonna call it, right there where the lights are.
Yeah.
You turn down that road. We had to walk from there all the way to where the school, the one that they tore down.
Yeah.
We had to walk every day, rain, snow, hail, or blow.
Did you graduate high school there?
No, I didn't.
Well,
We
tell me-
moved from there.
Pardon me?
We had moved different times, at
Okay.
different times in my life.
Where did you move to?
Another part of Rehoboth.
Oh, okay.
Another part of Rehoboth.
Okay.
Still in the area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do after you finished school?
I just went to work because I didn't want to go to college, so I just went to work.
Tell me about your first job.
Ooh. It's probably, my first job was cleaning, and it started with my grandmother. She was the first one. And we would walk down here. I would walk down here I had my little cleaning job.
Like somebody's house?
Yes, yes.
So was it like full-time and from one family?
I'm sorry?
Did you work for just one family or did you have
Yes,
different?
it was a lady, yes.
So it was a full-time job for
Yeah.
you?
Well, not considered full-time because I was a child.
Oh,
I was a
this is
child.
why you were in school.
I was a child. I
Oh,
think I was 12 or something like that when I first had my first cleaning job.
so you did that. Is that primarily what you've done? That's primarily what your career is?
Cleaning,
Cleaning.
yes, or factory work. I tried to shuck oysters. I couldn't make any money at doing that, so I had to give that up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's the furthest you've traveled away from Rehoboth?
Been down south mostly. Been to Florida, I think, twice.
Mm-hmm.
Been to Georgia.
Is that recent?
Florida, maybe Florida a few years ago, because I've been to Florida twice.
Mm-hmm.
been to Georgia, been to Texas. Of course, I've been to Virginia. That's my home.
Went back there.
That's my home.
So why did you go to Florida?
Just a trip.
Nice. You
A trip.
went with, who did you go with?
A friend.
Nice.
A friend, yeah.
Nice.
Get out of Delaware.
Get out of Delaware.
Yeah.
Oh my. Are things getting better?
I want to say I wish they were.
Good answer. Good. I think we all wish, yeah,
I wish they were.
yeah. Let me look here. Tell me, please, what is your earliest memory you have in your whole life?
Well,
The youngest that you were. What's the first thing you remember?
going to school, playing with my friends.
Mm-hmm. You stay in touch with any of your friends from those early years?
Some of them has passed on, but yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about your mother, your father, they both worked in the oyster business.
Mm-hmm. And they worked in the clam factory as well.
Oh,
It was a
that
clam
was that a
factory.
separate factory for the clams?
Yes, yes. And then there's a fish house. Those are both in Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There was a commercial laundry by the canal. Do you ever work or get involved with the laundry?
No.
The story I read online was that the laundry on the canal bank would send its dirty water down into the canal. It was all full of foam,
Foam.
bubbles from the
Mm-hmm.
the soap. But you weren't part of that.
No.
You didn't do any of that.
No. Mm-mm.
Had you heard of the Stokely Van Camp cannery?
No.
There was also a cannery that would can tomatoes and
Where was that at?
on the canal.
No.
Okay. But you were right near the canal. Is it near where the bridge is now?
Where we was, it was just the oyster plant at that time when I was a child.
Okay, okay. That'd be in the 50s.
When I was a child.
Yeah. Tell me about your older sister, if you would.
We don't always get along.
Well, whose fault is that?
Maybe both of us.
She was, what, 2 years older than you?
Yeah.
What does she do?
She worked, did primary the same type of work.
Mm-hmm.
And later on during the years, the poultry plants came around.
Oh,
so
yes.
everybody went there, and I did too.
Did your
Hard
mom
work.
the
My
poultry
mother
plant?
never went.
to the poultry plant? Did they pay more than the oysters?
They paid more than just about everybody.
Oh,
That's
really?
why people went. Hmm.
I guess it was a growing field.
Yes, yes.
I'll make sure this is still working. Yes, you're still alive.
Okay.
How did you meet Marge?
From the village. Just a nice, beautiful person. Nice, beautiful person. Yes.
There's a lot of nice people and a lot of nonprofit organizations that people just gather. I think in these nonprofits trying to improve things, just nice people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's something very much needed. When I found out about the village, literally it saved my life, because when I found out about them, I was disabled more than what I am now, and I couldn't drive. I still can't drive.
What
so,
is your,
so it
so
was
you're
a
disabled?
godsend, yes.
What may I ask?
I'd
what
rather not talk about
Okay.
that.
Okay. You know, everybody has something.
But it was a godsend when I found a
But when you say the village,
brochure.
what do you mean by what is the village?
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not familiar with
I
it.
was trying to think of what was the name. What was the name before Miss March?
It was originally called
How come I can't think of
the
it?
Greater Lewis Village Volunteers.
Oh, it was an organization.
Yes.
It wasn't a bunch of houses.
No.
Oh.
No.
Thank you.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So you volunteered there or they helped
No,
you?
they provide my transportation and everything.
Mhm.
In fact, I was out one day and with used a different service, and the people left me stranded.
How do you mean?
They never came to pick me up. I had stopped to run errands, and they were supposed to come and pick me up. And when they didn't come, I called, you know?
Yes.
And the lady tells me, we don't have you on the schedule. I said, what do you mean you don't have me on the schedule? They did not have me on the schedule. They did not come and get me. And I stood in that store and I cried. I
How long?
cried.
That's
I
awful.
cried.
How long were you there, stranded?
I was there from 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock because I had no way home.
And you couldn't call your dad or anything.
No, I didn't think about calling Dad because I thought I had reliable transportation. The people that had taken me, you know what I'm saying? So it happens that there was a gentleman in the store where I was at, and he knew me. And he said, Miss Butcher, he came up to me, he said, Miss Butcher, if you don't have a ride home by the time I get off, then I'll take you home.
Yeah.
And he took me home. And while I was waiting to go back a little bit, they had a little table and they had brochures and pamphlets. Normally I don't read most of that stuff, but that particular day, there was a blue, I remember specifically, was a blue pamphlet there, and I picked it up, and I kind of started reading. I didn't read it all the way, because I said I'll wait till I get home to read it.
Yes.
And so probably a couple days or so, whatever, and I picked it up, and they had just started the organization. And so I called and made an appointment, set up an interview and everything, and the lady came out to the house to interview me and everything. And she said she would get back to me to let me know if they could help me. And I've been with them ever since. And it's been a godsend.
That's wonderful.
It's been a godsend.
You say that you weren't close to your sister. Was she also helped by the village, or did she move away?
No, she lives in Salisbury,
Oh,
Maryland.
Salisbury, Maryland.
She
Okay.
lives in
Moved
Salisbury,
away.
Maryland.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a car?
No, I can no longer drive.
Okay.
I had a car, but I had to give my car out.
After school, your primary job was cleaning.
Or the chicken plant.
And the
The chicken plant.
chicken
I
plant.
worked in the chicken plant.
Were there different jobs that you could work your way up to a higher level position, or
There was, yeah, yes.
was that dangerous?
It could be, because you're working with a knife.
Sharp
So
knives.
it could be.
Yeah,
Hmm. And there's machinery around,
yeah.
you know, and forklifts, those type of things.
Have you married?
I did.
Can you tell me about your husband?
I care not to talk about that.
Okay, okay.
Just don't want to talk about that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Mhm.
You know, it makes you mysterious. You know, I enjoy chatting with people and with you, and I can sense the emotions that you go through talking about this. Is there anything you want to tell us, tell the world how you feel about things, or any kind of life messages you have?
Why does it have to be so hard, so different? Everything seems so hard, so different. You know, you just want to go on with your life. You know, you go to work or you raise your family, but everybody don't have the same rights. And I don't understand that.
Why is that? That's the question. Why is that?
It's not fair. It's for the powers that be.
Why do you think people crave power?
Because they can. Because it makes them feel important, makes them feel inferior, makes them feel better than other people. And it's not right.
How do you feel about activists who are trying to change the world?
I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We definitely need change. We definitely need change. Starting with the politics.
What questions should I ask you if I knew what to ask?
I'm a voter. I do vote.
You do vote?
I get involved with that. I do vote, yes.
Whereabouts, not to be nosy with your address, but where do you live now?
Where do I live now?
Yeah.
It's called Jimtown.
Jimtown.
It's a little black community, which is about 10 families that live there. It's down from 5 Points.
Okay.
But that's not giving you
No, I'm not
with
trying
all
to.
the developments out there.
No. Are there any white people in the development at all?
Actually, there's 3 families. 3 families, but the rest is, Jimtown is primarily one family owns all of the land,
So they rent?
just about.
You rent?
No, everybody owns, just about I think we just have one person that rents, but everybody owns
Mhm.
their own property and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do the whites and the blacks get along?
Yes, everybody gets along. Everybody gets along.
Do you think that most white people are trying to put down the blacks?
No, I'm not one of those people that think like that.
Mhm.
Because the blacks do the same thing. They can do the same thing, put down another race. It's not right no matter who does it.
So maybe it's just human nature?
I guess that's their word, their excuse for it.
If you had, I'm just asking questions because I find you fascinating. Is there one particular thing you wish you could change?
For people to get along with one another.
Oh, you are an optimist.
Yeah. My mother used to say I was nuts.
Did you get along with your parents pretty well?
Yes. Had a close relationship with them.
That's worth a lot.
In fact, when my mother passed, well, before she passed, she got sick and she stayed with me until she passed.
Yeah.
Even though I have 3 other siblings.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you had more.
I had 3
Came along
other
later.
siblings,
Yeah.
but she lived with me until she passed away.
How long ago was that?
About 22 years, I
Oh,
think.
a long time.
Hmm.
She didn't make it very old.
No, she was young, maybe 62 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy, he passed away about 8 years after that. He was in his 70s.
When people got sick back in those days, was the hospital segregated?
From my understanding, it was.
Really?
From my understanding, it was, yeah. And they had a doctor, his name was Dr. Pierce, he was from right here in Rehoboth. And they said he was one of the best doctors ever, one of the best. He treated everybody the same way, because all doctors wouldn't treat black people, but he did.
Well, it's nice to hear stories that not everybody was bad.
That's exactly, everybody's not.
Yeah.
Everybody's not. We could do with some more nicer people.
Yes. Yes. But most people think that the nice people include themselves, and they're not the not nice people, but that's the matter.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I went through my questions, and I think I understand you a lot better than I did before, and I appreciate you coming in. What more would you like to tell us about any early memories or stories that you, like family stories that you relate from time to time that you can share with us?
We would have family reunions. That was always nice. We would have family reunions from time to time on both sides of the family. Because we got one set in Delaware and another set in Virginia.
Yeah.
And that was nice.
So when you had the reunion, did you have them like alternate places, Virginia one year, Rehoboth another year? And how many people would?
Mostly on my dad's side, they almost always were in Virginia.
And how many people
because
would go to the reunion?
It would be a nice crowd.
Like how many?
I don't know.
30?
Because I was a child. It was more than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody bring their own food?
Yes. That was a must, and it should be a must.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did people drink alcohol in those days for your reunions and
I
stuff?
don't remember as a child if they did
You
or not.
wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as I got older and some of the other family reunions, people brought alcohol.
So did your mother, I assume your mother did most of the cooking, have a secret great recipe that she was proud of?
One of her best things she made is homemade vegetable beef soup.
Really?
One of the best things. And her yeast rolls.
Bet you took those to the reunion.
And she always, you can go over there and the whole house would just smell like yeast.
So was your stove like wood or gas or electric?
When we lived on the camp, we had like, they was called potbelly stoves back then.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's how we heated our house.
Was it coal or wood or what?
I don't remember what it was exactly, but I do remember I got burnt on it. I have that mark right here today.
So that was the stove that you used for cooking your food.
Yes, and
How did-
also,
How do you heat your house?
you all use that stove for everything.
Everything?
Everything, yeah.
How about hot water?
We didn't have hot water. Black people didn't have hot water.
So did you take a bath in cold water?
No, we have these great big called galvanized tubs.
Yeah.
And Mom would heat the water on top of the tubs, and that's how, on top of the stove. And that's how the water got heated, and we would take our baths in this great big tubs.
So did she dump the water out fresh for every child?
Yes.
So you got fresh water?
Yes.
I've heard of people just going in the tub, but you didn't have to do that.
Yeah. We didn't have, as I said, we didn't have running hot and cold water. In fact, the majority of the times we didn't have cold water. We had an outside pump. We had to use a pump.
Did you have an outhouse?
We had an outhouse.
Did later on, did you add a bathroom to your house?
Never,
Never.
never. They was poor. They didn't have money like that. Very poor people. Very poor.
You're likable.
Thank you. We was poor, but we never wanted for anything. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, that means that you had everything you wanted, but you
And-
needed everything you had.
Yes. Yes. We never went to bed hungry.
Well, I don't want to minimize how it was,
Oh, I understand.
but
what
it
you're saying.
sounds like, in a way, you were fortunate.
We were. I think we were. I think we were. Yes. And everybody back then was poor on the same level.
I've heard people say, we didn't know we were poor. But everybody was the
Was
same.
poor on the same level. Everybody went to work at the oyster house, the clam house. Nobody had running water. You know, you might have got one person had it, but that was it.
Did you have a television or a radio?
We had a television, black and white television, yes. And we wasn't allowed to touch it.
What do you mean?
Nobody touched it but the adults. We wasn't allowed to
So
touch it.
how many stations could you get?
I don't know, maybe a couple, maybe. It wasn't too many back then, I don't think.
No.
I remember Walter Cronkite though when I was little. I remember.
I remember Walter Cronkite.
Mom and Dad would watch the evening news every night. That's how I remember that. Yeah, and the house was quiet.
Listening for Walter
The
Cronkite.
house was quiet.
He was respected.
The house was quiet.
So this interview today is between you and me, but I'm going to break the rules. And I'm going to ask Mark,
Excuse me.
what should I ask? What else should I bring out? I think I've covered a picture of her.
Did you ever go to the beach? Did you ever? I know
It was
you-
segregated. We had black beach and white beach. But as children, we went where our parents told us to go. There was a line, and you didn't go past that line.
Right,
As black children, you stayed in one part.
but you would be able to go
Yeah, as a family.
as a family to the beach.
Well, about, say, 4 or 5 families would get together. The moms would cook and put everything in the cooler, and we would take that to the beach, and we would have our little picnic down there.
Yeah,
So,
Did your family like to go in the ocean?
not too much, because black folks can't swim.
Well, if they don't go in the water, if they don't go in the water, they can't
you
swim.
don't mean that.
You gotta swim. You gotta get in the water if you're gonna swim.
Teresa can't swim, but Teresa does stick her toes in the water. Yeah, so my parents didn't swim, so they didn't,
I know it's not part of the black tradition, but I think if it's available, then there's no reason why black people can't swim. If they want to. I think we're getting off subject here.
So,
Okay, I'm going to.
I'm not going to argue with her.
No,
but,
no, but I'm going to exercise my authority as a volunteer to thank you so much, Teresa.
you're
Teresa
welcome, you're welcome.
Butcher. It's a pleasure getting to know you a little bit. And I have a little something for you that my wife whipped up. This is a jar of
Thank
her
you.
orange marmalade.
Okay. Tell her thank you so much.
I will.
Tell her thank
And I guess what I do now is sign off and turn off the camera.
I guess so. I do have one other question, though, if I could. You said sometimes families would go down to the beach. Were there other outings that you did that you remember?
Let's repeat that, because you might not be close enough to the microphone. Were there other outings besides the beach that your family would go to?
Mostly it was the beach. Mostly it was the beach. I'm sorry. Baseball. Daddy loved baseball.
Oh,
I would tag along with him.
was there a local league?
Yeah, it was local guys.
Was it a black
or
league?
Men. Not a regular league or nothing like that. Just men from the
Yeah.
neighborhood having a friendly game of baseball.
Yeah.
And I had a brother. We had a brother, but he wasn't interested in the things that Daddy did, like baseball and fishing. I was the tomboy.
Really?
I was
So what position did you play?
the whole field. And so I was the one that would go to Daddy, go with Daddy, and I loved it because that was our time together.
Oh, yeah.
That's special, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Some
I think
of
it's
our-
something special about mothers and sons and
Mm-hmm.
fathers and daughters. Just, your heart breaks if something goes wrong.
And when you have to work as much as you
They had,
did,
they had to work.
they had to.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
wasn't a lot of time.
And,
for that.
and we know it was a given that when we got a certain age that we was going to work. It was a given. Everybody worked.
Everybody knew that.
Everybody knew. Yes.
I do have one other question, if I could, John.
Yes.
We keep talking about the oyster camp. Where was it in relation to the canal?
Right on the canal.
Right on the
Right
canal.
on the canal.
Like-
Before you would go over the overpass,
Okay,
it's a right you would make, and you would go down.
so it's
'cause-
back over where Oyster Rocks is now. Is
Yes,
that-
yes, yes.
Okay, that's what I was
yes,
trying to
Yes, yes.
place, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So at some point, I guess they just closed down and went out of business.
Well, after the flood came is when they
That
closed
was
it
it then,
down.
62.
That's when they
that was
closed
the
it
end of
down. That was it, yeah.
Well, before we, what they say, beat a dead horse to death, I'm gonna sign off and say again, Teresa, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'd survive, Miss Marge.
Yeah, I knew